Okay. Okay, so this is my first video in probably a very long time. I want to say my last video was roughly 3 months ago when the Weekend After Hours Nightmare was announced for HHN 31 this year. But I am not talking about, or I am talking about HHN 31. I'm going to be talking about the House's Scare Zones, the show that I watched, and the new house announcement we got on Halloween. It was in the wrong year for some reason. So, HHN 31 was probably the biggest year since 2016. Now, take for granted there was 3 IPs with The Weeknd, Halloween, and Blumhouse. Now, you might say Universal Monsters is a IP because it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. The reason why I say that it isn't an IP is because there is no Universal Monster movie with Dracula, the Wolfman, and the Mummy in it, so I'm considering it as an original take on an IP. So I'm taking for granted that it's not an IP from this year. But those are the 3 IPs that we had, and then we had 7 originals, which was Hellblock, Spirits of the Coven, Demon Spears Winter's Wake, Fiesta de Chupacabra, Bugs Eaten Alive, Descendants on Destruction, and Universal Monsters Legends Collide. Now, first I'm going to hit it off with my tier list that I have for the house. For the houses, I have them from my favorite to least favorite. So we're going to be talking about my favorite house this year at Halloween Horror Nights 31. Deadman's Piers Winter's Wake. This house was honestly the most beautiful haunted house that I think Universal has ever done in the span of like 7 years or so. I haven't been so visually impressed by a haunted house, none other than Deadman's Piers Winter's Wake. This house was charming, it was beautiful. The scares were also beautiful. Like, you're thinking, like, how is a scare beautiful? I don't know either, but it was. The scares were beautiful, the whole facade, the whole, like, architecture in this haunted house was really beautiful. I'm not gonna go really in depth of each house and like explaining like why, say like one house is like at rank 5 or like rank 7 or whatever, but that's my number 1 house for Horror Nights this year. My number 2 house is Bug House. Now, I honestly was very scared of this house. I'm not a huge fan of bugs, but it wasn't how I thought it turned out to be. It was more of a 1950s camp, not camp, but like it felt like a 1950s campy film. Think of like either like The Birds, because that's a campy film, or one of those uh like one of those like movies where they have huge bugs in it. that kill people. That's what I would think or describe Bug House. Like, the whole haunted house felt like a a movie poster from the 1950s, told as a story for a movie. So it's confusing. Even though it's just like you're going into like this expo thing where there's this company, B-side, made this new exterminating air thing where you put in your vents, it ventilates the air, kills off pests, spiders, bugs, whatever. But something goes wrong with it. The bugs start mutating, they get bigger, they start mass reproducing, and they, well, eat people. So it sounds like a 1950s movie. And I liked it a lot. It was a really, really well themed haunted house. My number three house is The Weekend After Hours Nightmare. This was my favorite IP, not because it was The Weekend. Personally, I am a huge fan of The Weekend, but that's not the reason why I loved this house better than Halloween, which is on my list, but it's a little bit lower down. Um, but the reason why I love The Weeknd so much more than all the other IPs that was brought to the event this year was because it was different. We had Halloween before, and we had Blumhouse before. Halloween was predictable, and Blumhouse was predictable, even though Freaky and the Black Phone was never in a haunted house at Horror Nights. It was predictable. Yeah, that's how I would explain it. It was predictable, Blumhouse, but The Weekend, it was something new. We haven't had a music artist come as a haunted house since Alice Cooper in 2012, I want to say. And I didn't even go to the event there. Then my first year was in 2014. So my first haunted house ever at Halloween Horror Nights was Alien vs. Predator in 2014. So that, to give you a perspective on like what I have personally seen at HHN and what I haven't seen at HHN as well. But The Weekend, it was different. It was a it honestly felt like I was in a Weekend music video. The Weekend, like in a Weekend music video. Um, they had segments from In Your Eyes in it. They had Save Your Tears. They had the Super Bowl part where he was running around the mirror area in the Super Bowl. It was like the most welcoming haunted house I've been into at Halloween Horror Nights. I'm sorry if I'm yawning too much. I am filming this at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I think I'm the only one up. I am not 100% sure, so. But The Weekend, let's talk about The Weekend more. When you first walked into the Weekend haunted house, you see The Weekend on a chair, and there's wires coming out of him, because the whole entire premise of the haunted house is you are walking into his mind. That's why he's strapped into this chair with a huge, like, when you get like when you the electric chair, you know how like they put like the bowl on your head and it has like wires and circuits coming out of it. that's basically that was, but you're walking into the Weeknd's mind. You're seeing what is happening in the Weeknd's mind when he made After Hours, the album After Hours. It was a big surprise, and it was a bigger surprise when they announced it. I wasn't expecting them to announce The Weeknd. I wasn't expecting The Weeknd to go to Horror Nights. That's how surprising this haunted house was. Now, my number 4 spot for HHN this year was none other than Blumhouse. Blumhouse is a two-part haunted house, I want to say. So I have two different reviews. So 3 is going to be Blumhouse Black Phone. The Black Phone part, it was dark, it was scary, it was very, like, it was creepy and disturbing. You were walking into the grabber's house. You were seeing what Finney was going through. Uh, at some parts, you saw there was 2 or 3 of the ghosts of the other victims in the haunted house. You saw the grabber being choked to death. But as a surprise, he comes back for one more scare at the end of the haunted house. This part of the Blumhouse was, in my opinion, my favorite part of the house. Freaky was so. I felt more Blumhouse, less Freaky. Again, Freaky was also really good, but I really did prefer the Black Phone part of this house. Now my number 4 spot is the 1978 John Carpenter's Halloween. This house was, yeah, again, predictable. The last time they had the original 1974 Halloween was at HHN 24 in 2014. So this house has already came. It was basically, it wasn't like it, but it was like more theatrical, if that makes sense. It felt like you're more in the movie than being killed in the movie. It was more like watching everything in the movie unfold. So you saw the part. So when you walked in, you're walking through Michael Myers' bedroom, and then you walked through the bedroom where Michael Myers killed his sister. And after that, you go into this black room. There's a projection. It said Halloween. It was like a dark hallway. They had a projection that says Halloween. But when you walked through that, you then come across the part where it rains and all the inmates escaped from this mental asylum place that Michael Myers was kept when he left. And after that, you walked past the Myers house where the rest of the house or haunted house was taking place. Um, so you walked through the Myers house. You you walk around the Myers house into like this alleyway. There's drapes. There's 2 trick or treaters and 1 Michael Myers. And from that, it gets blurry for me. I think it was the room where Michael Myers stabs this dude against the wall and leaves him hanging there. I think it was that part, but it was a really good haunted house. Not my favorite house. It's number 5 on my list. It's mid tier. Wasn't It's not the worst. It's not the best. Number 6 is Universal Monsters Legends Collide. This house would have been higher on my list if it wasn't a two-part haunted house. It felt like at the end we were stuck on a cliffhanger. It was that disappointing to me. If it wasn't a two-part haunted house, I think it would just been fine on what it was. But since it was a two-part haunted house, I knew that part 2 was in Hollywood. I personally did not get the chance to see part 2 of the haunted house in Hollywood. So I felt like you're leaving off on a cliffhanger. That's all I'm gonna say about that house. I was really let down by that house. Even though it did won House of the Year, I honestly think House of the Year should have went to Dead Man's Spirit, but that's my opinion. Number 7 is Descendants of Destruction. Now the whole premise of this haunted house, you are going into the subway station because there is this disease, I want to say, that kills people. So you're going into a subway station to basically protect yourself from this disease. But because you're entering really deep into this subway station, humanity starts to devolve into mutants. Um, there's a part where there is a cannibal butcher scene. He's cooking up dead people. It smelled really bad. The whole entire it smelled like someone burning rotten flesh. That's all I would say. It smelled disgusting. The next house is Fiesta de Chupacabra. At number 8, I was disappointed. I only been through this house twice. Only been through Legends Collide twice. That's how disappointed I was in those 2 haunted houses. Chupacabra felt unfinished. Every single time when I went to Horror Nights, neither Universal Monsters or Chupacabras was on my to-do thing each time. Each time my to-do thing was either Bug House Weekend, Halloween, or Blumhouse. Every single time I went, I only went like 7 to 8 times just to give a perspective on what I've done. I've done Demon's Pier 4 times. I did Bug House 4 times. I did The Weekend 5 times. I did Blumhouse 3 times. I did Halloween 4 times. I done Legends Collide twice. I did Descendants of Destruction 4 times. I did Chupacabras twice. So you can see what houses I mainly prioritized when I went to Halloween Horror Nights without Express, because Express is not in my budget. It's way out there for me. Number 9, Hellblock. Now, the reason why I'm not giving this a number 10 spot, because I know they tried on this house. They tried. Because this house was supposed to be Evil Dead Rise, but it got canceled. They only had 3 to 4 weeks to build and make a new concept for a haunted house. So they tried. It was decent. It wasn't it was the worst haunted house, but if that house was in some other a local family or like local haunt, it would probably be like the best haunted local haunt. But because it's just Hell Block and Universal as a studio park, you expect each house to have studio like to feel like you're in a like a movie studio or walking through horror movies and stuff like that. This house didn't really feel like it. It really felt like a hollow scream house was put at Universal. That's all I would say. Then you got Spirits of the Coven. Even though this house was better than Hell Block, even though it wasn't my favorite, it was still a decent haunted house. Now, all these houses I didn't hate. I was let down, but I didn't hate them. Every house past date was a letdown to me, basically. Spirits was always on a low, was always on my lowest expectation because I'm not a big fan of 1920 Speakeasy. I'm not a huge fan of Flapper Witches, so that's what I would put for Spirits. Now let's go to the scare zones. They featured 5 scare zones this year, with Graveyard Deadly Unrest, Scarecrow Cursed Soil, Sweet Revenge, Conjure the Dark, and Horrors of Halloween. My favorite scare zone was Graveyard Deadly Unrest. This was also a very beautiful scare zone, like Deadman's Pier. Deadman Pier was a slow house, like element wise, it was slow. Graveyard Deadly Unrest was also slow, which made it felt like you're if you went through Graveyard Games in 2019, put that as a scare zone, but you are the teenagers going into this graveyard. That was what this house or scare zone was. It was really beautiful. Most of the pictures I have at Harness is of this scare zone. Number 2, Scarecrow Cursed Soil. I wish I had more pictures of the scare zone, but I physically couldn't. It was too foggy, too crowded, and too dark. Every single time I took a photo, my camera on my phone flipped out on me. Almost every single picture was blurry. But it was a awesome scare zone. It was a prequel. I want to say prequel to the 2017 house Scarecrow the Reaping, which they had in Hollywood this year, which I honestly wish Universal in Orlando brought it back. So that's just my opinion, but that's my second favorite scare zone. My third favorite scare zone was Sweet Revenge. It was a party-like scare zone. There are trick-or-treaters, there's a mayor, there's a candy worker, there's news reporters, there's parents getting killed by their children who eat this candy, which made them psychotic. In my opinion, it seems more like a family-friendly purge. That's what I'll say, a family-friendly purge. Next scare zone, Conjure the Dark. They could have done so much better. I honestly wish Universal stopped putting scare zones in the San Francisco area, just because the San Francisco area is so congested during Halloween Horror Nights. That scare zone would have been better without a show. There was a show and a tiny pathway. So, tiny pathway, a lot of people, a stage show. It was crazy. on how small the scare zone was, and also Horrors of Halloween. Again, Horrors of Halloween, very, very slim scare zone, and it's the smallest scare zone as well. Only had three, I want to say three Stillwalkers, one Pumpkin Lord, and like two scare actors. 2 to 3 scare actors, like normal scare actors. So there's like 7 scare actors in that scare zone at a time. Well, in the Coven one, they had the 2 on the stage. No, they had like 4 on the stage. 3 in Boo Holes. 3 in Boo Holes, and 2 more roaming around. So that's all I gotta say. This show that I watched was Nightmare Fuel. It was the same as last year. It could have been better. That's all I had to say. It could have been better. That's all I have today. Tomorrow I'm gonna be. Oh, also I'm gonna talk about what I think about this new house announcement for 2023's Chucky Sci-Fi USA. I haven't seen the show. I think it would have been better if it was the movie. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, it could be a good house. I'm hoping it's a soundstage house, because soundstage houses are bigger. Mostly when they do shows, it's in a house. Or in a soundstage. Or a parade building. It's either gonna be a parade building or a soundstage. I don't see it in Springtown. But most, like, big, like, TV shows are normally in the soundstage. I think the only big TV show that was in Springtown was like the first Walking Dead. Don't get me wrong on that. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was The Walking Dead. Actually, I'm gonna search that up. I'm gonna search that up real quick. Patreon 2012 was the first time that they brought The Walking Dead, I'm pretty sure. No, it was in the disaster queue. Okay. What was it in 23? Was it in the soundstage in 23? What was it in 2003? Oh, okay, I guess it wasn't in a soundstage. Or Sprungton. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2:30. Or 3:30. 5, almost 5:30, so I'm stopping this video at 28 minutes and 30 seconds. Thank you guys for watching, and have a really good holiday. Have a really good holiday. There's Thanksgiving or Hanukkah or what other holidays you might celebrate, and Christmas coming up. So I hope you guys have really good holidays coming up. I will have a few more videos during this month. I might have like 2 more videos this month, a video or 2 next month. I'm trying my best to get a job so I can get some money, maybe get a better filming equipment and stuff like that, because I kind of want to make YouTube full time, but right now it's like part time. I'm not even making money off of this. I don't think I've been high enough like subscriber viewer rating to get money off of it, but still, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Halloween Junkie, and have a really nice day.